Hi guys, here is section 2.4 day 2 notes. We are looking for upper and lower bound tests. So we've done lots of these, but I hadn't gone back. I wanted to go back and do the notes just to make sure if you were still struggling with this one that you would have some notes to look at. So here we go. We've got 2x to the fourth minus 11x cubed plus 2x squared minus 44x minus 24. So it says determine the interval where these real zeros are going to lie. Explain your reasoning using upper and lower bound tests, and then find all the real zeros. So first, let's think about our possible rationals. So our possible rationals would be the factors of 24 divided by the factors of 2. So that would be plus or minus 1, 2 goes into 24, 3 goes into 24, 4 goes into 24, 6, 8, 12, and 24. So these are all my factors of 24 divided by 1. But remember, we also have 2 as a factor of 2, so then I got to divide all of them by 2. So that'd be 1 half. 2 halves would be 1, which we already have. And I got 3 halves. 4 halves is 2. 6 divided by 2 would be 3. 8 divided by 2 would be 4. 12 divided by 2 would be 6. 24 divided by 2 would be 12. So that's all my total possibles. And then we're going to look at what this graph looks like to help us come up with what would be a good upper bound or lower bound. If we didn't have the graph, we just have to sort of guess and check. But since we have some technology, and I'm going to give you graphs on your quiz tomorrow, and on your test, we might as well look at the graph today. So here we go. We are trying to graph 2x to the fourth minus 11x cubed. So 2x to the fourth minus 11x cubed plus 2x squared minus 44x plus 2x squared minus 44x minus 24. All right, and here's our graph. So it looks like the lower bound, it looks like our lower zero is -1. Sorry, somewhere between 0 and -1, so probably more like -1/2. Looks like my upper one is probably 6. So remember, I'm going to go one less than and one greater than. So let's say -1 and 7. I'm going to test those two guys. So for -1, this is the interval we're testing, -1 and 7. For -1, I put in 2, -11, 2, -44, -24. If this is a lower bound, my signs down here should alternate between positive and negative. So bringing down a 2, 2 times -1 is -2, minus 11 is -13, times -1 is 13, plus 2 is 15, times -1 is -15, so that's -59. Times 1 is 59. 59 minus 24 would be 35. So we're checking, did we alternate in sign? Positive, minus, positive, minus, positive. So this is a good lower bound. All right, checking our upper bound, which we said was 7. Again, we're going to use the same coefficients. But this time, if it's going to be an upper bound, down here on the bottom, they all need to be positive. So bring another 2. 2 times 7 is 14, minus 11 is 3, times 7 is 21, plus 2 is 23, times 7. Sorry, having to grab my calculator here. 23 times 7 is 161, minus 44. It's 117 times 7 is 819 minus 24 is 795. And notice now we are all positive down here, which means this is a good upper bound. All right, and then what that means is we're not going to have a 0 that's less than -1, because, oops, that's supposed to be a negative, Ms. Harris. Because -1 is the lowest possible. So no -2 or -3 or -4 or 6 or 8 or 12 or 24 or -1.5. And -1 wasn't a 0, so I can even take that guy out. And my upper bound is 7, which means anything bigger than 7 is not going to be an upper bound. So not 8 or 12 or 24. All right. And so from here, we just kind of have to guess and check what we think would be a good one. We can go back and look at our graph. So on our graph here, we think it's probably at 6 is a good one, and probably -0.5. So let's try those two and see what they get us. So let's try 6 first. When we try 6, 2 times 6 is 12, minus 11 is 1, times 6 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, times 6 is 48, minus 44 would be 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Yep, that is a good 0. And then we can test, we said -1/2 we thought was 1. Nice thing about it is I'm going to use these numbers down here, and I don't have to divide them by 2, since it's already -1/2. So I've got 2 times -0.5 is -1. -1 minus 1 would be 0, times anything is 0. 8 plus 0 is 8, times -0.5 is -4. All right, so I get here, and I've got x minus 6, I've got x plus 1/2, and then I've got 2x squared plus 8. Where'd you get 2x squared plus 8 from, Ms. Harris? That's what I have left over down here. Remember, this is 2x squared plus 0x plus 8. And then when I look at it, do I have a GCF here? I sure do. I can pull a 2 out. Not sure why I just decided to go to red right there, but we'll take it. When I pull the 2 out, I have x squared left, and 8 divided by 2 would be 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this 2, and I'm going to multiply it times this guy here, this binomial here, to get rid of that 1/2. So that would give me x minus 6. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1/2 would be 1. So this is my complete factorization. If you have a fraction there, most likely, if you look somewhere else, you'll be able to pull out a GCF so that it'll wipe it out and make it a nice linear factor. So here's example number 1 from 2.4, day 2. If I get a chance, I'll come back and give you some more, but I had people asking for those. Let me do one real quick down here, example number 2, rules of signs. So this is the possible real zeros. And what Descartes says is if you want to know the possible positive real zeros, you're going to look at g of x, this guy here, and you're going to ask yourself how many times did it change sign. By that I mean, how many times did I go from positive to negative or negative to positive? So here I went negative to positive, there's one sign change. Positive back to negative, there's another sign change. Here we stay the same, so it changed signs twice. So I could have 2 positive real zeros or 0. So it's either that number or you have to decrease that number by 2. Until either you get to 1 or 0. You can't have anything less than 1 or 0. You can't have any negative numbers. And then Descartes said to find your negatives, you're going to plug in g of negative x, and you're going to figure out how many times does that change signs. So if I've got an odd degree here, it's going to change my sign. If I have an even degreed exponent, my sign's going to change. My sign is going to stay the same. So here's odd, I'm going to change the sign. Even stays the same. Odd again, I change the sign. Constant always stays the same. So that means I've got only one sign change right here. So my possible negatives is just going to be 1, because 1 minus 2 would give me a negative number, and I can't have a -1, 0. So this is my total possible zeros. All right, hopefully that helps you out a little bit with 2.4 day 2. If you have questions, feel free to ask me or send me emails. I'll be monitoring my email all tonight and tomorrow. If I get a chance, I'll make you some more videos.